And many thanks indeed for joining us on the program. Wherever you're watching from around the world, we are live from our studios here in Lagos, Nigeria. I am Kelly Egiga. We are following development around Israel's war on Gaza and can now tell you that U.S. President Joe Biden says he's hopeful for a ceasefire in the conflict by next week, Monday. His comments come amid reports of some progress reached in ongoing negotiations involving Israel and Hamas representatives in Qatar. And a spokesperson for the U.S. Department, Matthew Miller, has been reporting progress in negotiations to release Israeli hostages in the last several days, but it's still not clear whether Hamas will accept the latest proposed deal. Countries involved in the negotiation discussions are Egypt, Israel, the U.S., and Qatar. In a separate development, Palestinian Authority Prime Minister Mohammed Shataya resigned along with his government, which runs parts of the occupied West Bank. In the meantime, it is yet more tensions in the Red Sea as the U.S. claims to have conducted fresh strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. The U.S. Military Central Command, which announced the attack, reported it struck 3 unmanned surface vessels and 2 anti-ship cruise missiles that were in Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen, which was preparing to launch towards the Red Sea. And according to the U.S., the attacks were launched in self-defense to protect freedom of navigation and make international waters safer and more secure for U.S. Navy and merchant vessels. The Iran-aligned Houthis will control the most populous parts of Yemen, have carried out dozens of attacks on vessels with commercial ties to the U.S., the UK, and Israel in the Red Sea and Gulf Aden since November. As part of humanitarian operations, the World Health Organization, WHO, and partners have delivered crucial medical supplies, food, water, and fuel to Gaza's Al-Amal hospital in Khan Yunis over the weekend. The hospital, which has been hit numerous times, has hindered patients from reaching the facilities. Health workers and patients have also been trapped in the hospital as they fear for their lives as a result of constant shelling in the area.
Now we are in siege. The patients cannot reach the hospital because it is not allowed for them to walk in the streets near the hospital. Also, our ambulances now cannot move outside the hospital. The situation of the 3rd floor of this hospital, which is not eligible to receive patients because the ceiling has fallen down, collapsed. So we are going to refer about 35 patients from the 3rd floor to another neighboring hospitals.
We are here in Al-Amal hospital. We are not allowed to go outside the door of the hospital since 21 of January. And it's the first time we see the sun while you are visiting us in Al-Amal hospital. We are staying here for aids the injured patient. We did our job in doing a lot of surgeries for injured patients, like general surgery and orthopedic surgery. We save lives a lot of patients, and we did what we can in limited facilities.
The level of destruction is unimaginable. However, there are still patients here. Our top priority is to identify a number of them and refer them so that they can continue their care.
Let's bring in more updates and developments on Israeli war on Gaza. We understand that ambulance crews have recovered the bodies of 9 people from various areas of Khan Yunis since early this morning. One girl was among those who died after being wounded in Israeli army gunfire west of Khan Yunis in Gaza's south. The United Nations Humanitarian Affairs Office says Israeli military stalled a medical evacuation convoy in the Khan Yunis area, detaining a paramedic and forcing others to remove their clothes. It said the incident occurred on Sunday during the evacuation of 24 patients from the city's Al-Mal hospital, which has been under siege by Israeli forces. It's pretty similar to another incident we have discovered of Israeli troops forcing doctors and other medical staff to leave the Nasser medical complex in Gaza to strip down to their underwear and waiting in the cold for hours before the troops allowed 5 doctors to go back into the building to treat patients. Israeli forces say they found medications with the names of Israeli hostages on them inside the hospital, releasing a video of soldiers showing medicine boxes with inscriptions and sometimes photos of the labels of who they apparently were prescribed to. Israel is also said to be severely restricting the entry of humanitarian aid in Gaza while causing the loss of local agricultural production, leading to starvation and contravention of the provisional measures issued by the International Court of Justice, ICJ. Lebanese armed group Hezbollah, meanwhile, says it struck Israeli spy equipment at Al-Ramatha and Arwasa al-Halam sites in the Sheba farms, an area claimed by Lebanon but captured by Israel in the 1967 war. Hezbollah also says it hit an air control base in Mount Meron, northern Israel, in response to Israel's airstrike in the vicinity of Baalbek on Monday.